On this episode of the Slices podcast, we have a special episode. The cast of The Resonator, Miskatonic U, a new Amazon Prime special. We have Michael Pare, Amanda Jones, and Dane Oliver. You won't want to miss it.
Hey everybody, this is Jason Pelligra. Welcome to the Slices podcast, and we have a little bit of a special episode today. We're going to be talking about a new show on Amazon Prime called The Resonator, Miskatonic U, and it's going to premiere February 26th, 2021, and it'll be on the Full Moon Features app. So if you want to get it, if you sign up for the app, you'll get 12 free episodes on Blu-ray of The Puppet Master. So it's a great deal. But more importantly, right now, I have the star of the show, Michael Pare. Welcome to the show.
Hey, nice to be here. I love this movie. I mean, well, it's a television series, but it's based on that short story by HP Lovecraft from Beyond.
Awesome. And okay, so I want to talk. Okay, so you've been in so much. You have a very, very rich career. What was it about this project that excited you?
HP Lovecraft, and to work with Billy again. This is the second thing I've done with Billy. I did a movie with him a while ago called The Furnace. But HP Lovecraft is classic horror, and every college kid in America reads Lovecraft. I mean, all the way back in the 50s, they were reading Lovecraft. And, you know, it's classic. It's like Edgar Allan Poe. When the story works, this show is going to be even better.
Great. How did the role come to you? How would you find out about it?
Billy called me up. He said, Michael, I'm doing the HP Lovecraft thing. It's a tribute to Stuart Gordon. And I said, I know the story. And, you know, he told me about it. I play a professor at Miskatonic University. And I said, Billy, this is going to be great.
So he didn't really have to sell you. He
didn't have to twist my arm. No.
That's pretty...
And you know, we did 2 episodes, and they already ordered two more episodes before it's even aired. That's a good indicator that they like it.
Yeah. And I kind of find it cool that you're a fan of HP Lovecraft.
Hey, horror sells around the world. I mean, there's horror, action, and then thriller, and then you get into these less popular kind of movies.
Yeah. So you're on board. You're good. That's good to hear. So you play Professor Wallace. Do you want to give us a little bit of a synopsis of the character through your eyes?
Professor Wallace is teaches like calculus, engineering, hypothetical, interdimensional, science. And his cohort or co-teacher is Tillinghast's father, right? And we developed this resonator together. But then my partner dies, and he disappears, actually. And I'm left alone, but then his son comes up, and he decides to pick up where his father left off. And, once you open that door to another dimension, all kinds of crazy stuff can happen.
So I'd seen the first episode and I loved it.
Oh, you saw it already?
I did.
Oh, cool.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and I really did enjoy it. Now your character, you come off pretty straight-laced and looking pretty honest, but I kind of have a feeling there's a few layers in there for you.
Well, when you're dealing with hypothetical physics, or hyperphysics or multidimensional universes and accessing those dimensional universes, you got to be out there. But when you're working at a university, you also got to pass a sniff test for all those faculty people. They want you crazy, but not too crazy. You want to inspire the kids, but you don't want to become like a prophet or something to them.
Yeah. And you also a veteran of horror and many films is Amanda Wyss in this production. Have you worked with her before?
No, I haven't.
No?
But Billy did. And when we don't really have a scene together, but we're in the same scene together. And in the future, we're going to get a little more involved with each other.
Awesome. So you kind of have a mix, you know, of some veterans of the genre with a young cast. What are your what's your take on this cast that you've been working with?
Dane was amazing. You know, it's so cool to work with young people that are just as excited to be on the set. And it's not just like a goofy thing. Oh, we're making a movie, we're doing a TV show. Isn't that great? No, they were very passionate, devoted, prepared. And, you know, when you start throwing the ball around, everybody takes it to another level.
Yeah, that's great. And Dane, of course, plays Crawford Tillinghast, who is
Crawford Tillinghast. Oh,
yeah,
that poor boy. He needs a little guidance.
he needs a little guidance. So I'm sure you'll be right there to give it to him. When you, I'm kind of, it's funny because when you're in a show like this and you're in it from the ground up, has this ever happened? Have you ever been involved with like a show where you're building from the ground up, or
What do you mean?
like have you ever started off on a show? Like have you ever done a series where you were writing?
Yeah, I've done 4 television series.
Oh, you have?
Yeah. I shot Greatest American Hero. We shot the pilot, and then that got picked up. We shot the pilot for Houston Nights, and then the network picked it up. I shot 2 other pilots that didn't get picked up. I shot a Chinese pilot that got picked up. Let's see. There's something else that I was doing. There's a 4th. Oh, Star Hunter was we just went right to series on that. So yeah, you know, the development is cool, but you know, you usually have a good idea if you're going to go. We were really surprised when the Shapiro series didn't go, because they're the ones. Esther Shapiro made Dynasty, right? And she wanted to make another kind of Dynasty, but that didn't go. So I mean, let's focus on this. But you know, like with this, when you start with HP Lovecraft, you know, there's no question that every college person is familiar with HP Lovecraft, and there's a reason for that. It's like they're all familiar with Vonnegut, you know, and you know, with Hemingway and all the great writers.
Yeah. And well, the reason why actually I ask is because I'm kind of curious, because with this script, with this character that you have, like, are you as an actor, do you ever get concerned? Not concerned, but are you ever kind of wondering, okay, where are they going to take this? Like, are they going to go on the path that you kind of have envisioned for your character? Because I mean, really, with HP Lovecraft, I mean, this could go anywhere, and that's part of the fun of it. But as an actor, are you kind of just wondering, okay, wait, I wonder what's in store for my character down the road?
Well, Billy pretty much stuck to HP Lovecraft.
Yeah.
So, you know, whatever Lovecraft is game, I am too.
I could tell. I could tell you're really into it.
Yeah. Come on, interdimensional stuff. That was part of Philadelphia Experiment. They opened a gateway into another dimension. You know, and once you do that, anything can come out. I mean, really, it's like, you know, there could be, you know, squid people or worm people or birds with human heads or human bodies with bird heads. I mean, the Egyptian gods or the Sumerian god. It's like, what the hell is going to come out? Demons, angels. It's like interdimensional beings, aliens from another universe.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I could tell it in your voice. I mean, the enthusiasm is amazing. So, so you're on board, you're ready to go. So you're ready for all the goo and the blood that could ensue.
Well, you know,
because I noticed you didn't get much of that in the pilot. I'll say that you kind of steered clear.
You might notice there's a little more in the second one.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, okay. You know, and I don't mind doing the goo and the slime. It would be nice if they had like a portable shower, you know, because the idea of getting in your car and driving covered in goo is like not cool at all.
Yeah. How far along are you in knowing where the scripts are gone? Like like you said that there's 2 episodes shot, 2 episodes ordered. Do you have any kind of beyond that? Do you know anything about?
Well, they're all the same characters, but you know, the concept of a multi-dimensional universe where anything you can think of actually exists in another dimension. So it's pretty much, I'm trusting Billy is going to go along with what would HP Lovecraft do? You know?
Well, that doesn't narrow it down, does it?
But that's a good thing. It's like you don't know what's coming out of that dimension, what the resonator is going to squeeze out.
Yeah, no, that's true. When did you get on? Like, when did you start shooting this?
We shot about I guess a little around a month ago, maybe a month and a half.
Yeah, what's the production like? Is it pretty smooth sailing, or is it?
Well, he had this great set, and he had the resonator built, and the actors were all there, so it was for me it felt like a big production because all of the necessities were there. It wasn't like we're turning around and saying, I wish we had this, I wish we had that, because we had everything that we wished for already.
It looks beautiful. Like, I mean, it really pops. And I really am excited to see how far it can go, because you got a great cast and great set there, and it's set up very, very well. And I mean, like I said, like we were talking, I mean, this could go anywhere, and that's the beauty of being on a show like that. I mean, the fact that the possibilities are endless. I mean,
hey, when you're doing Billy's interview, go in really close on his eyes, and you'll get an idea of how wild it can get.
Actually, I did interview him, and it was I mean, man, that guy's got stories. So
yeah, hey, he's been killed by all of the Hollywood horror icons. So I mean, he's worked with a lot of horror geniuses, let's say.
Yeah. So let's talk about him as a director. Is he kind of like your buddy on set, or is he like real focused, and how does he project on as a director?
Billy's very relaxed on set. He's incredibly prepared. He has his shot list. Everybody sees his shot list. He, there's never that moment where, what should I be doing? No, he's very focused.
Yeah.
And what is really good is there's a thing that goes around about knowing how to talk to actors.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to give an actor an adjustment, you don't want to have to be too delicate, and you don't want to have to backpedal. You want to give just the right adjustment. And I guess, it kind of feels like it's your idea.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, even though it's something that never occurred to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think. If you can get an actor to say that, that's good. Because they're not going to say, yeah, you're right. But they'll say, yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. Well, hey, you know what? He's been on both sides of the camera, and
right.
I guess you learn those tricks as you.
To be serious, there's a sensitivity to the actor, because, acting is like having an emotional reaction to imaginary circumstances. That's one of the basic premises in my mind. And so you're not just asking them to change the dialogue, you're asking to change the motivation for the dialogue. So he's adjusting feelings and thoughts more than actual dialogue. So if you can do that, if you can tweak the emotional or open the actor's eyes to what is supposed to be happening emotionally, then you can direct them.
Yeah.
Not to get too fucking out there, but
hey,
I've been doing it a long time, so I've been thinking about what do I actually do for a living.
It's funny when you think about it. When you started, could you ever imagine that people would be watching a show of yours on an app? I mean, you wouldn't even know what an app is, but even on a phone, like from when you started, it's
hey man, when I came to Hollywood, we shot on 35 millimeter film for television. Greatest American Hero was shot on 35 mil. And they still edited by cutting with a razor, a table cutter, and hanging them with clothespins and putting it on a moviola. Now, you can edit a movie on your smartphone.
Yeah, it's crazy how much it's evolved. And for my money, and I know we're not talking about old shows, but Hero is probably still one of my favorite theme songs of all time. I mean,
they played it during the Super Bowl, I heard.
Oh, did they really? Oh no, it's a great. It's actually on my playlist, so it's that's not many theme songs for a TV show are. So, I honestly, I'm thrilled to having gotten this time to speak with you. I really, really wish you and the rest of the production the best of luck with this, and I really do think it'll go because it's a really beautiful looking horror tale. It's directed beautifully, and the cast is great. Michael,
Amazon Prime on February 26th in the Full Moon Features app. That's where you can see us.
that's right. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
Good
you.
luck, and we'll talk when you get picked up for a full season.
All right, Jason. Take care.
All right. Take care, Michael.
Later, man.
Hey, everybody. This is Jason Pelligra on the Slices podcast for a special episode. We're going to be doing all the Resonator, Miskatonic U, and joining me today is one of the actors from the show, Amanda Jones. How are you, Amanda?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for being here.
Of course.
Before we begin, I do want to tell everybody that February 26th, 2021, on Amazon Prime, you can see the Resonator Miskatonic U, as well as Full Moon Features app. So you can download the app, and if you do it now, I think you get all the Puppet Masters for free. It's almost like paying for itself. So do yourself a favor. And they also have a really, really cool app, and I'm not paid to promote them. So, so anyways, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much.
And so let's get right into it. I had seen the first episode, and I really, really like it. We get shades of your character, but is it clear to say that we don't really uncover your full character in that first episode?
Definitely. I think the first episode really is just to like highlight this friend group that kind of causes or gets himself into, problematic situations. But I really think it's like a brief overview of who everyone is, where they are, campus, Miskatonic University. And yeah, I don't think we really dive deep into anyone except Dane, who plays Crawford. I think we don't really dive deep into anyone's specific storyline until later. So you just kind of get a snippet of Carrie Mitchell.
Awesome. So, unlike a movie, with a show like this, it's kind of interesting because, you as an actor, you have no idea where it's going to go. Am I right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's funny. And I was telling Billy this, I've never really this is my first time really doing a sci-fi project. And so a lot of the time you just have to trust that, Billy and Justin and everyone knows, has a vision, because a lot of the time we were in this like big studio, they had lights flashing, wind blowing, but we weren't looking at anything. They were describing what was happening, and we were reacting off what they were telling us. They're like, okay, now this comes out, the machine's sparking, and we're just reacting to what they, imagine the episode to be. So it's just a matter of trust, which is so crazy, especially now to see it. I mean, I've seen clips, and it's so cool to see how it's turned out.
Yeah. It's like it's almost like acting class sometimes, right? With Imagine. And, is this one of your first projects? Am I wrong?
It is. Yeah, definitely. I've done a lot of commercial work, and I was just sort of starting to dip my toes in TV film. This project came along, and I mean, even throughout the casting process, it was a very fluid experience. And once we got to set, day one of this project, maybe it's because it was a smaller crew and just a production, everyone was so cohesive. There was such an amazing synergy, and the project you kind of just knew from day one, something great is going to come out of this, because everyone cared so much and was just really there to do it, be covered in slime, run with guns, and there's just so much that was about to happen that everyone was like, okay, let's go, let's do it.
And it looks fun. Watching it, I was like, this looks like a fun project to be in.
So fun.
and a fun project to watch, a show to watch. So we're rooting for you. So let's talk about your character. How about you give me a little bit of a synopsis of what she is to you?
So I think out of the group, Carrie is more of the introvert. she's highly intellectual. Since she was a little girl, like she's been very prone towards the extra, not terrestrial, but just like the outside world, like spirits, energy fields. So she's always been like that girl at a party that's like doing her own thing. So she carries around like all of her gadgets, her EDP. And yeah, she's very to herself, but she loves her friends very much.
Yeah.
She'll do anything to protect them. And I think like there's a lot to her that you're not seeing yet. So yeah, you just kind of get a brief little bit of her. And I think there's a lot more that's coming.
So have you had any discussions with William Butler, who's the writer and director of the Resonator, Miskatonic U? Have you had any long-term discussions with him about your character in the show?
Yes.
You
so
have?
I know, yeah, he's actually written the next few episodes, which we just got greenlit for episodes 3 and 4, which I'm so excited about.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we were all super excited. And so I kind of know like the direction he is gearing her towards. It's going to be so much fun. Like I had fun shooting the first 2 episodes, and now I'm like, okay, like this is, and I also think the storyline that she's taking, you're going to see a lot more of her.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Are you familiar with HP Lovecraft at all, or was this your introduction?
I mean, this was definitely my introduction.
Yeah.
I know about HP Lovecraft. I know about From Beyond, but I'd never really seen it before. And I didn't really want to before starting the project, because I just wanted to have like my own, you know what I mean? I feel like sometimes you watch something, you end up trying to mimic that. And I wanted it to be like, you know, our own. Yeah. So,
yeah, it kind of takes a little bit of the pressure off.
And
And you can just do what you have to do, right?
Exactly.
Was there a time on set that was where you were like looking around and saying, wow, look at what I'm doing? Was there a scene that was like just so much fun for you that you?
I mean, I honestly think like every day, like it's just funny because, and I was saying this, like I can't wait to watch the first scene. I think it's the introductory scene, like when episode 1 starts, but it's all of us in the bar. And that was like the least like imaginatory, like that was the least like creative scene, but we had just met like that day, you know what I mean? Like
oh, really?
in that day. So I'm excited to see like just 5 strangers come together and like do this. And then obviously as the episodes come, you can see that they've really formed bonds. Like we're so close. We hang out all the time, like outside of, you know, the show and everything. But there was one day where we were up, I think it was like a 14-hour day, and like it was like 10:30, and Dane was covered in like blood and goo and slime, and like he'd been covered in goo and slime for like 6 hours. Like he was just walking around set like a bloody, like literally a bloody mess.
Yeah.
And I was like, Billy was helping me like figure out how to use the shotgun, like how I'm supposed to like pull back, because it doesn't actually shoot. About to fight a monster while shooting this like fake gun, and it was just like, it was one of those things where I was like, wow, like life is so cool sometimes. It's so cool, you know?
Right. That's awesome. That's so cool. Okay, well, so HP Lovecraft and even Full Moon Productions, they have very sexually charged themes a lot of times throughout the production, and your character wasted no time.
No time at all. No time at
all. So you know, and let's face it, there's nudity in this film, and you are in this show, and you are the culprit. How were you comfortable with that?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think like when I was auditioning, like it was a huge part of her character. Like I knew by accepting this role, like that's what I would have to do. And I think after I had like a private Zoom call with Billy, and I think first off, after just like understanding the story he wanted to create, and just like understanding like what the show was supposed to be, like yes, there are these like very arousing elements. It's not what it's all about, but of course for a viewer, like how amazing is it to get both like gore and that sex appeal. But yeah, I mean, I think I was a little anxious coming into the day, and once it came down to shooting, everyone was just so kind and supportive. and some of the girls came over when I was filming that scene just to kind of be close.
Yeah.
And I mean, I honestly, it's funny, like I think I thought so much about how it was going to be in my head, and then it came down to filming it, and it was just fun. Like, why not? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, we're making something cool, so
Yeah. So, okay, here's a question for you.
Mhm.
You think it's more challenging to film a scene like that or to watch a scene like that?
To watch a scene like that.
To watch a scene like that.
For sure. Like, I am so excited for my family and my friends to see it, but I'm like, I want to see it first before you. Like, I
Yeah.
want to see it at the same time as you, because I still haven't seen, you know, how that turned out.
Yeah.
And I know that it's gonna be great, and it was just a part of it all. But yeah, I think filming it really, after it was over, I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
cool,
Yeah.
like high five, like we did it.
Yeah, but it's, you know, and I have seen it, and it's artistically done. You know, like, I mean, it's cliche to say that, but it actually is. It's artistically done. It fits with the mold of what the show is and what the show is going to evolve into. So it's not necessarily out of place. But I've always been just curious, you know, just to talk to someone. Like you mentioned your family about, and I always kind of wonder that, you know, but I guess I'm not an actor, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I brought it up to my parents when I was casting for it, and they're like, you know what, like this is your job. Like if you look at it in a
Mhm.
professional lens,
Yeah.
it's really nothing. You know what I mean? It's just a day at work. Like you show up, you do what you're supposed to, and it's not like it came, you know, it wasn't a curveball. Like I knew that was happening.
Yeah.
I
Well,
was
that's yeah.
prepared for it. And you know, this is like the first of hopefully many projects, and so I just think
Yeah.
I'm not about to do full nudity anytime soon. But it was just like it's something that I feel like as a person I kind of like grew from, because it's something I've never done before. It was definitely out of my comfort zone, and yeah, I mean, we'll see. When we were filming it, Billy had actually showed me clips of Madhouse, I think it was, one of his old films. And he was showing me just like how the montage was actually going to look, like how it was just brief
Yeah.
flashes. And so I was like, okay, like it won't be, it's tasteful, you know?
Yeah. Yep. No, I'm not. I don't want to harp on that. So so if that's not in your comfort zone, is being covered in blood and goo in your comfort zone?
Definitely.
It is.
Yeah, it's so funny because Dave, he was the set designer. He was like the like Nickelodeon, like when you got slime, like he was like a slime master from Nickelodeon. So first
Oh
off, I was
wow.
obsessed with slime as a kid, and I was like low key like fangirling. I'm like, by the way, like I loved like the whole like get slimed. I always wanted to get slimed, so I feel like I might be like this is kind of like living it out now. But it was more fun. Like it kind of made the whole experience just like really just like
Yeah.
fun. I mean, you just have to go for it. So yeah.
Yeah. While there is a lot of imagination involved, a lot of the other stuff, there is a lot of practical effects on set too,
Yes.
and makeup, and that must be fun, and it must
Yeah,
help too.
it does. I think it just puts you more in the mindset. I wasn't one of the characters that really had to get like done up or
No.
anything in that sense. Like I had a little bit of goo from when I fought like one of the monsters, which you'll see.
Mhm.
But I think Christina, Dane, Hannah, who plays the female entity, like the three of them really got like the special effects, makeup and all that. And it was cool to watch like the process of it. But yeah, it's all super cool.
You escaped it so far, but you
So far.
told this slime master on set that you can't wait and you love it. So you're in for
I know, I'm
for
just
some
waiting for a big green bucket to be poured
yeah.
on my head.
It's coming. It's coming. That's part of the fun of it too. Have you envisioned where you without the script, but where you intend to take this character?
Yeah, I mean, I think like, you know, when you film like a first episode, second episode or something, you're still getting to know who this person is. I still feel like there's so much that I don't really know. Like it was definitely like a very innocent version of Carrie. Innocent. It was just a like I'm learning, you know, and I think
Yeah.
the more episodes we make, the more I'll get to see like the kind of person she is. Like, is she good? Is she bad? What is her motive overall? So yeah, I think it's a process. And
Is that kind of tricky? Like I'm thinking, like you know, you shoot a couple of episodes, And then down the road, your character maybe changes so much. And then you kind of look back at the first couple of episodes. And I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. It's not like you made a mistake, but you'd be like, shoot, that doesn't kind of fit. Like, I mean, this hasn't happened, but is that something that, is something that you could see happening?
I mean, I feel like, and what I've been trying to like do, like when I was working on it before, like, I think as long as like my, like overall, like my overarching, like need or fear of is the same throughout, no matter what happens to her, she'll
Yeah.
still be that same version of Carrie, just going through different circumstances, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't really worry about it not like paralleling her initial self. I just think it's maybe she'll grow or change in a better way or a worse way. You never know.
Well, I thought you were a scene stealer. Let's get that.
Thank you.
Let's get that. Okay, I thought you were a scene stealer. I really enjoyed your character. I personally think that there's some darkness in your character that we're going to see. That, I mean, that's maybe just my prediction.
Yeah.
But I kind of have a feeling that you explained yourself as being studious and all that, but I have a feeling that we're gonna see different sides of you. And with HP Lovecraft, I mean, it could go any which direction, as well as with William Butler. So what's more appealing to you, to play a more conservative good girl hero or the bad girl?
I'm obviously open to either, but I think bad girl just because it's so different from who I am on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
So it actually is more fun because it's like, why not be this like crazy off-brand person? Because I mean, it's storytelling,
Yeah.
like why not try this new personality or this new character on and see what it's like.
Yeah, I mean that'd be my perspective on that too. But but it's everybody's different. Again, I mean, you start off in this pilot a little bit more subdued. By the end of it, you're like firing a shot. So there's a lot that happens within 40 minutes of screen time. So
for sure,
you've evolved already in this show, which is really cool.
And personally, like I think like just the whole experience, like I just feel like I'm so ready for whatever is to come, like in my career, because I think like I was able to tackle so many different themes by doing this show.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was a lot, it was 5 days of like hard work and a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I felt like so much stronger after we wrapped, and also nostalgic because I wanted to keep working.
Yeah.
I was so bummed, but yeah, I'm excited to.
But you're gonna get to do it again.
Exactly.
And how cool is that set? It's a really good looking show, and that set is really gorgeous.
You can tell that they took a lot of time because again, a lot of the effects, some of it is practical effects, like the monsters. They fully built these creatures, and then they add it, post as well.
Yeah.
But the resonator, like without any effects on it, it's a beautiful machine / prop. Like it's we would just during lunch break we'd be like, whoa, like this thing is so cool. And it's huge. Like you don't think that, but it's really big.
Yeah. Well, it looks like it's going to be a really fun show, and I just want to tell everybody again, it's on Amazon Prime February 26th, as well as the Full Moon app. And thank you so much for being on Slice's podcast, and I wish you all the luck. I think it's gonna go, and when it does, we'll come back and do a full-on interview.
Definitely, let's do it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me. This is Amanda Jones. I'm Jason Pelligra from the Slices podcast. Thank you, and we'll see you soon. Hey, everybody, this is Jason Pelligra from the Slices podcast, and we have a special episode today. We're talking with the cast of The Resonator, Miskatonic U, and right now I have the main star of the show, Dane Oliver. How's it going, Dane?
Life's pretty good, honestly.
Good.
Got a pilot coming out in a couple days. That feels nice.
I know. That's pretty. You know what? Doesn't get any better. So I want to talk. Had you ever seen From Beyond before this project?
I hadn't. In fact, when I first auditioned for this, I actually had no idea that Miskatonic U, that Miskatonic University,
Yeah.
was a Lovecraft staple. I had no idea what I was getting into.
Wow.
Yeah, not a clue.
So then what were your thoughts on that film?
Okay, so truth is, I actually still haven't seen it.
Oh, okay. Sorry. We won't.
No, that's okay. It's a fair question because,
Yeah.
in fact, at this point, I've even had a lot of people be like, Dane, you and Jeffrey Combs are so similar. And I'm like, I have no idea what that comparison means. Because I actively avoided watching From Beyond while we were doing it because I didn't want, I wanted to give the Resonator Miskatonic U,
Yeah.
I wanted to give it its own presence as its own piece of art. And I didn't want it to be too heavily influenced in my creation of by the works that came before, which is, of course, absurd.
Yeah.
I've now done my research and I've looked into it, and everything that ever was Lovecraft is influenced by what came before. Even when some of the big works are being created, it wasn't by Lovecraft, and that's created the mythos that we have today.
Yeah, that's a great point, and I like how I like how you kind of stayed away from the original and keep it fresh and stuff. And is it something that you think you might go back to one day?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Especially because the truth is, our show,
yeah,
is so referential. Oh my gosh, it's so referential.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what our fan base is like yet, but if our fan base has watched From Beyond, they're gonna love this.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. It's messed up. It's
yeah.
It's a messed up film, but it's good. It's good. I when you're a horror fan, that means good. So no, you'll. Were you worried when you sign on for a show like this? And this is one of the things with being HP Lovecraft. I mean, this could go anywhere. Like, are you worried that in episode 8, your character's wearing a thong, table dancing and stuff like that? Like, I mean, because this thing, it could.
Yeah, no, anything can happen, and that's one of the actual thrilling things about this. No, I'm not frightened because whatever we do is going to be supported by the story. Our writer-director, Billy Butler, is brilliant, and he's going to keep the thrust of this thing going where it should. At the same time that I can never possibly predict where this thing's going next, I'm excited to see what happens with it.
Yeah. You got kind of a nice mix of veteran horror genre actors and Michael Pare and Amanda Wyss, and you guys you and Amanda have a really contentious scene, which is it's a real good scene, and you're mixed with a young, fresh faced cast. You all seem relatively the same age and everything. How fun is that? Or is it not
it's
fun?
Interesting because it is. Oh, it's great. Because the experience levels didn't really come into play much for me, at least. The whole cast gelled so well. This was one that we'd constantly be on set and we'd look at each other and be like, I can't believe that I get to work on this project with these amazing people.
That's awesome.
Getting to work with Michael Pare, getting to work with Amanda Wyss, was just as amazing as getting to work with Alex Keener and Amanda Jones. This was solidly awesome the whole time.
And you're one of the characters that has pretty much had scenes with everybody. I think you pretty much got to work with everybody, so it's kind of that's kind of cool. You actually, I mean, there really wasn't too much of the first episode without you in it. I mean, you carried it. So and great job at doing that. Is this like a dream, really, like for you? Like, I mean, obviously, if the show were to get picked up for 3 seasons, that'd be the dream. But I mean, you're on the cusp of potentially a hit show on Amazon Prime. It's a fun show to be involved. You got exciting cast. I mean, this has got to be a great time for you right now, no?
This is phenomenal. I love so much. I love when I get to do high stakes contemporary science fiction fantasy. It's the best thing you could ever do because at the same time you get the adventure, you also get the shockingly modern dialogue, right? Don't get me wrong, I love doing the period stuff too, but when I can both be fighting monsters and then have a scene in the bar with my friends, it's just peak.
Yeah.
This show is peak.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
great. Okay, let's talk about your character. Why don't you give us a little bit of just an insight into the character of Crawford Tillinghast?
Yeah, fair enough. So Crawford Tillinghast has existed in the Lovecraft mythos for a long time. He's a character that Lovecraft wrote when he wrote. It was either called From Beyond or it was called Resonator. I don't remember at this point. And in that, he's a scientist who's descended into a type of agoraphobic madness as he works on this project. In our version, he is much younger. He is in college, an undergrad, and he's desperately trying to put together this project that killed his father. He's found his father's notes, and he wants to finish his last work, and does it. At the same time, though, there are tons of influences. There's actually a quote that I'm going to horribly misquote right now.
Your paraphrase.
Yeah. From the story. I loved it so much. The story that Lovecraft wrote takes place very much from a perspective like a Watson-esque best friend who's wandering into Crawford Tillinghast's mansion and seeing the madness that's gripped this man. And he says it's a mistake that a man of action and feeling like Crawford Tillinghast ever chose to study science and philosophy. He says that that such pursuits are better left to the cold and the calculating. That for people who feel and want to do with science, you can only have the despondency of failure or the horror of success. Yeah.
One of the things I noticed with your character is I have no idea where you're going to go with it. I mean, because there's elements of everything in there. I mean, he's a nice, sensitive guy, but he's also the driven, focused, mad scientist type. Like there's a lot in there in just one episode that I've seen. That's got to be cool to play.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I said it in a previous interview, and I think it's really sort of the best summation I have is that Crawford Tillinghast is 100% a hero who's always one bad day away from being a supervillain.
Yeah.
And I think this episode a lot, the arc of these first two episodes, is him deciding which he cares about more, science or people. And he makes a decision. He makes a very clear decision.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is fun to get to play that arc.
What have you and William Butler, who writes and directs this, have you and Billy discussed where your character, the trajectory of your character?
We absolutely have.
Yeah. So you have any insights on that? You don't have to give anything.
Yeah, I know, right?
I don't want you to get in trouble, but
we have discussed the potential of Crawford to go a number of directions, and there are some of those that are very appealing and that I think will be very, very pleasantly surprising for the fans.
That's cool. Okay,
Yeah.
we'll take that. We'll take that nugget. What's it like working with him? Is he are you able to collaborate? Like, does he have a real clear focus on what he wants, or is he open to you coming up and saying, "Hey, what about this?"
Both.
Yeah.
Both. It's really wonderful because
That's
I
good.
always know that Billy has an idea of what he wants.
Yeah.
I never feel like we're floating out in the abyss, lost in, indecision and nothingness. But I can always come to Billy and go, "Hey, Billy, what if we did this? Hey, Billy, what if I tried this?" And sometimes he'll look me dead in the eyes and say, "No,
Yeah.
absolutely not." And I go, "Right, understood. Back to my corner. Thank you so much." But other times I can play around. I can be like, "Can we try it this way? Can we try it this way?" And he goes, "Yeah, do that, 100%."
Nice. Yeah, that's great. So again, adding to the luster of this gig, having a director to take in your considerations for the character is awesome. Have you ever seen pictures of Billy in the 80s?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
Yes, I absolutely have. It makes me so happy.
So okay, but here's the thing. Okay, now we're gonna take away hairstyles. but I think you two look similar. I think I know why he cast you. I think
because he's egomaniacally trying to cast himself again.
I think
That's dark.
so.
That's
I
dark.
think so. It is. It fits with the like we'll take no mullets aside. I'm not trying to insult you in any way. He was a good looking guy, and still is. But I'm just saying. I looked at some pictures and I think I get where he's going with but that could just be me, and I might get in trouble now for that.
No comment. After I've probably already commented way too much.
No, it's okay. So let's talk about some of the content of this awesome project, and sex and sexual situations are HP Lovecraft, and I mean, so that's going to be part of it. How's that for you for filming that kind of stuff? As far as are you comfortable with it? Is it
Very.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's the story, right?
Yeah.
And that's actually part of where I have to hand it to Billy, is that this thing gets sexy. But it gets sexy in the story. At no point do I feel like we're all just out there on sale to get public attention. Yeah. This is a well-crafted story. Yeah. And as far as the sexy of Lovecraft goes, bring it. Yeah. That's part of the story we're telling. And I think that's part of the fun.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's sexy weird because, it's not all full on, sex appeal without it being a little bit off-putting in a good way. Blood.
In a Lovecraftian horror kind of way.
Yeah. So blood and gore and goo and you, now you can pretty much be assured that this is going to be a staple through the series, but you got hammered in episode 1 right off the get-go. How's it working with KY all over you?
I cannot officially confirm that we were using KY jelly for our goo. I cannot.
Back in the day,
I cannot confirm that on the air. It's fun. It's more of the immersion in the world. It's goopy and it's weird, and when you try to take it off at the end of the day, you always curse yourself a little. But no, I arrived home so many nights still scraping the blood and the goo out of my hair, and I have never been so happy.
That's awesome.
What a thrill ride.
What a great attitude. How long did you shoot? How long was your shooting schedule?
Ready for it? We shot both episodes. So we shot about an hour of TV in 5 days.
Wow. That's
and none of us thought it was possible. None of us. Oh my gosh. We showed up on set being so when are we going to get the extension? When are we going to find out we're shooting for another week after this? We did it. Wow. Man, we pounded through and we did it.
And that's tough because you had a lot of practical effects on set too. And that, that stuff takes time, but you guys, wow.
Yeah. Well, and also, we're shooting in times of COVID, right? Mm-hmm. So there are a lot more restrictions. There's a lot more time-taking activity just to keep everyone safe.
Yeah.
So what would have been a monumental task before trying to shoot in a pandemic it's phenomenal that we got this thing done the way we did. Phenomenal.
Well, good for that's kudos to you. You guys got a good captain, I guess. So you've seen the first episode, and were you happy with it when you saw it? Because it's one thing to be on the stage doing what you're doing, but then to see it, did it play the way you thought?
It's an interesting question. Did it play the way I thought? Yes and no. I was not, this is going to sound like a hard plug, and I guess it is, but I was not ready for how awesome this show was. We were on set and we're doing it, and the entire time you're doing it, you're like, this is fun, but what's the end result really going to be? As you're, sitting tied to a chair covered in goo, and you're like, it's hard for me to imagine that this is going to be great. As you're like, there was one point where I had a blood gag with blood running out of my nose, which really just means I got waterboarded with blood for a half hour. And we'd cut between takes, and I'm hacking and spitting blood into this cup by the side going, what am I doing with my life? And then the film comes out and you go, oh no. Oh yeah, we did that, and that's great.
You're doing exactly what you want to do with your life.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
then some, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the audition process like? Did you have heavy reads or
So yes and no. Actually, just yes.
there's a lot, I was gonna say there's a lot of yeses and nos, and but it's all good.
Fair. So mostly just yes. Yeah, I got the first scene. I went through a very standard audition process for this.
Okay.
I did the audition, I did the callback, I did the next callback, I had an interview with Billy, and on we went from there. But the first one I got was the scene between myself and Amanda Wyss, who plays Professor.
Oh shoot.
I know, right?
The professor.
I know, the professor. The professor. That's terrible. I shouldn't have that on the tip of my tongue. Oh well. The scene between myself and Amanda Wyss in her classroom, which is this wonderful scene where we have it out about the nature of the universe and the various philosophies that we each follow, and it's both very high-minded and it feels very pissy college student. Which is great. It was so much fun to get to play that and to have a smart script in front of me. But it's also a solid, multiple pages of intensive science and philosophy dialogue. I was so excited when I got that and saw that it was written well and that I got to play with that.
Yeah.
And so I did that audition. And then I get the callback. Amazing. And I look at another 2 scenes filled with the same stuff. And like my head's exploding a little bit. I actually, I turned in the second audition way before I needed to, half just because I wanted to prove that I could wrap my mouth around that dialogue and spit it out. And then when finally I got to the audition with Billy, where he and I were sitting and talking, it was a little bit surreal because at this point I wanted the role. I wanted the role bad.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And now I'm sitting talking to him, and we read through the scenes again. He records us that he can send it over to the executive producer. And he looks me in the eyes and says, I will throw a tantrum if I don't get you for this role. Which is not something you're used to hearing in an audition. At no point does the casting director or the director or anyone look at you and say, you've booked it. No one does that. So to hear that and to go, I think that means I got it? That feels good. Yeah, it was nice. It was
awesome.
nice. It was fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, I guess, I mean, you're never sure until you get it confirmed, but I guess the journey home was pretty sweet for you. Professor McMichaels is
Professor McMichaels. Yes.
All right. Sorry, I had to get it out now too. So I want to talk also about the location or the set. I mean, that's a cool set. It looks like a really fun set to be on. Yeah, and it plays beautiful on screen. Want to tell us a little bit about, like mad scientist playing with all your toys on set?
Oh my gosh, yes. It was really magical. The first day I walked on a set, because I got there and I head up into this abandoned warehouse looking place, and I climb up these frightening rickety stairs, and I'm having someone, stick a nasal swab up my snout to find out if I have COVID or not before any filming can begin. And then finally, I think it was Austin Woods, who's an incredible actor as well, who tapped me on the shoulder and goes, "Hey, look at that." And I turn around and there's the resonator, just like there in the middle of this space where I'm sitting. So phenomenal to see that kind of production in person, to get to play with, as close as you're ever going to get to the real thing. And then you're absolutely right, to get to have the levers and the keyboards and the whole apparatus to get to play with. Immediately before we started filming, I went over to my little workstation where I spent a great deal of these first 2 episodes and started playing and finding out from Dave, who was our props guy, what I could and couldn't plug and unplug and switch on and switch off. What was practical, what wasn't, what was going to break his machine, what wasn't, which I did a couple of times. Yeah, that main lever, it got some rough usage. There were a couple times on set where I went, "Dave, I'm sorry, Dave, I broke it." And he came over with the glue gun and the screwdriver and put it back together for me.
That's hey man, you probably left cursing you, but hey,
just hated me at the end of it. If I ever have to work with Dane Oliver again, I'm out.
That's awesome. Yeah, and you kind of touched on it. I mean, that resonator is like a cast member. That thing is like pretty intense. It's big.
Yeah, it gets its own close-ups.
Yeah. Honestly, talking with you has been awesome. I really, really enjoyed the first episode. I'm looking forward to watching more. I'm more looking forward to you and your cast and everybody involved getting, full season of this, because I really think you deserve it. Yeah, thank you for this. And I know we'll be talking again about this. So I'm pretty confident about that. So just if you have any last words before we sign off.
No, I hope
You're
the fans love it as much as we do.
And they will. And where can these people see it? It is on Amazon Prime, February 26th, also on the Full Moon Features app. And if you get the app now, you will get all 12 episodes of The Puppet Master, and that's pretty cool because it's 12 Blu-rays. Dane Oliver, thank you very much. And I know we'll be talking again soon.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
That's it for the Slices podcast with Jason Pelligra. I'd like to thank the cast of Miskatonic U, the Resonator, for being on this awesome episode. Again, check it out on Amazon Prime, and we'll see you soon. Take care.